Everyone, I'm Elizabeth Esther from elizabethesther.com, and I'm starting a new series here on my blog. I will be breaking it up into multiple segments, and it's called Top 10 Signs of a Spiritually Abusive Church. I'm going to start by talking today about my first tip for you if you are concerned that you or someone you love has become involved with a potentially spiritually abusive or harmful religious group. First warning sign to look for is if the church revolves around a single charismatic leader or personality, one magnetic preacher or pastor who has a gregarious personality, is an excellent public speaker or preacher, and has managed to grow his church from scratch. Often you have to be very aware of the code language that is used within these groups. And what I mean by that is they will take scripture fragments or spiritual terminology and twist it so that the interpretation serves the pastor's agenda first. And for an example of that would be taking the scripture verse, "Behold how lovely it is for brethren to dwell together in unity," and using that verse as sort of a weapon against the congregation to coerce them to just go along with whatever the pastor says or to support the leadership, because unity is very important. In fact, loyalty and unity and are held high above the truth. And what I mean by that is if there is abuse happening in the church, if there are improprieties, if there is domestic violence, sexual abuse, mishandling of money, if any of these things are happening and the victims come forward seeking reparation or seeking for these grievances to be addressed, instead of rooting out the perpetrators or acknowledging impropriety on his own part, the pastor will either cover up the abuse and accuse the victim of causing strife and division and of being a gossip and not handling it the right way. A lot of easy ways that you can identify these groups. If they say something like, if they're called something like Bible Fellowship, Independent Fundamental Baptist, Community Bible Church. Usually what those sorts of names mean is that they operate totally independently, meaning the pastor has absolutely no governing oversight, no accountability to anyone but himself. It's usually started just by himself on his own. Now, with a caveat here, with a disclaimer, meaning not all of these groups, clearly, of course, they're not all abusive and harmful, but I am just trying to highlight some of the common characteristics where this abuse can take place and the environment where this flourishes. So that would be my first tip today for the top 10 signs of a spiritually abusive church. I'll be back with more next week.